that instead she's like, no, stay home. Stay. It's too unaffordable out there, honey bunny. Cuddle with me on the couch. Sleep with me and all these things. He's 35. What are you talking about?
Welcome back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks everyone for joining us on another great episode here at Muse on the Mic. We got a hot topic today. We're going to ruffle feathers. We're going to stir some shit. It's going to be great. Riley, what are we talking about today? Let everyone know.
In a nutshell, we're talking about men and their mothers, but we're talking about like the male loneliness epidemic. And do mothers contribute to raising these unfunctional men?
Caveat to all of our viewership, because they are 80% men, and y'all know we love you guys. We honor you guys all the time, especially in our men's episode, but I think we do a good job in most episodes. This one is kind of more reflective on society than y'all as individuals. That said, I guarantee all of you guys know many individuals, they're going to fall into these categories. It's a wild place out there in the world right now. But before we get into all of that, make sure you share the video. We are growing our Patreon, aiming for 100 subscribers by the new year. I got my fingers crossed on that one. And as always, hop over to YouTube and subscribe there, because we are climbing towards 1,000 subscribers over there. And y'all know, if you've been listening for a long time, the fuckery from all the people always limits our view and our reach. So the more you like and share, the more other people will see the content, and the more we can grow. The more we grow, the more you support the channel, the more content we can give you guys. That's my PSA for today. Did I do good? I love it. So we got this hot topic. I can't wait to like rant my ass off today. Riley, what are we starting with?
We're going to start with a video from Facebook from Will Hitchens. And I will say, when Emily and I kind of pre-gamed this episode last night, there was a few times I was like, but we're not going to deliver the message that way, right, Emily? Because we really get going on this topic. And like she mentioned, we love you guys. We're not against you, but take everything with a grain of salt here.
For sure. I think we're against some of the trends. I think that's the issue. We obviously can recognize it. And I think we come from such a unique perspective, not only at our age and generation as Gen Xers. I think we employ a bunch of millennials, Gen Z, and soon to be Gen Alphas. They're a little bit more of the concentration of category that we're talking about, although some of the influencers in the space are our age and above. So it's a little dicey, but we really get a perspective because our staff are in their 20s, most of them, and we see how they date and how they choose to date and social media and so on. So it's observational at best. Yeah. And we love Will Hitchens. We've done a couple of his videos before, so let's hop into that. Let's hear some of this shit. It's going to be aggravating, and then let's rant on the other side.
Why is it so hard to find a traditional woman? Why is it so hard to find a woman that wants to do some old school shit?
Let's see how quickly we will get strong indication. That should further explain why this man is finding it hard to find a traditional woman who wants to do some old school shit.
Like, I don't want to do this shit. This shit meaning running around to the bank and dealing with that and dealing with this stupid fucking shit.
Well, that was quick.
Like, I don't want to be running around to get my medication and all this stupid dumb shit that I gotta fucking do.
Do you mean running errands like every adult does?
I don't want to worry about the fucking rent. None of that shit.
And you're surprised that you're finding it hard to find a traditional woman who wishes to sign up and do, in your words, all of this stupid, dumb fucking shit for you.
I want to just go to work and make the fucking money.
That's it?
Let me go to work and make the fucking money. Let me fix the thing that's broken.
Well, you can start with fixing yourself.
Let me do the shit that I was designed to do while you do the shit that you were fucking designed to do.
Yes, women were designed to pay the rent, go to the bank, and get your medication for you. Men were not designed for those things. Trust me, bro.
What is so fucking wrong with being a homemaker?
Well, nothing really. It's entirely dependent on the man to provide the house in order for the woman to make it a home. It's also entirely dependent on women wanting to be a homemaker, because a lot of women don't, and the ones that do aren't lining up to date you.
And being a feminine fucking woman who balances the checkbook.
I think there could be other elements at play as to why this man's struggling to find a traditional woman.
What is fucking wrong with that? What is wrong with putting in your 100% along with somebody else's putting in their fucking 100%?
Well, what you've indicated is your 100% is full financial provisioning and maybe fixing things. Anything else? No?
Why is that a bad thing today?
Meanwhile, the 100% that you're expecting of your traditional wife is to be the homemaker, which may include all the cooking, all the cleaning, maintaining of the household, raising of the children, do all of her own errands, but also do your errands as well. The errands that you've called the stupid, dumb fucking shit that you don't want to do.
I don't fucking get it.
Because she was designed to do the stupid, dumb fucking shit for you.
I don't want to do this extra shit.
You are complaining about not wanting to be a self-sufficient, competent adult.
I want to do the shit that I do, and then you do the shit that you do.
Which includes doing all of the stupid, dumb fucking shit that he doesn't want to do himself for him.
And then we do the shit together.
Because that's what women were designed to do. All of the stupid, dumb fucking shit that men don't want to do.
Why is this a fucking problem? Why? I don't get it.
I'm not that optimistic that you'll ever get it.
I don't see these dudes that are like, hell no, I'm not going to go to work. Hell no, I'm not going to go hunt the deer and clean it and take it home for her to cook. Hell no, I'm not going to fix the fucking fence. Hell no, I'm not doing that shit. I'm a strong, independent man. I don't need no fucking woman.
That doesn't make any sense. Because hunting, working, and fixing things around the house are stereotypical things that we associate with men doing. If you wanted it to make sense, you should have listed the stereotypical things that we usually associate with women doing. So you could say you're a strong, independent man who doesn't need a woman because you cook and clean, maintain your own household, and run your own errands. Even saying strong, independent man is a false equivalency because men have always had their independence and autonomy. Women haven't.
I want my goddamn teammate.
So, first of all, I just want to throat punch him. That's all I want to do is be like, shut up. Because honestly, let's be real for a minute. What the actual F was that? That was insanity. It was illogical insanity. And I'm all for a like fringe idea or throw a conspiracy theory even in there in the mix. But that was madness mixed with nonsense. That makes no sense at all. And if your goal is, I want a girl that is like X, Y, and Z. Listen, all at some point have made a list of some kind of the traits we like, the traits we don't like. This is what I want in a partner. Yeah. Then go after that kind of woman. Find out what that kind of woman is attracted to, what she likes, and do that. Don't do what that we just watched. That was fuck. What is happening?
It was so horrific that I literally even said to Emily at first glance, like, do you think this is just an actor? Because it just seems so unrealistic. Like, I thank God don't know any men like this. Because, yeah, punch in the throat. But unfortunately, like Emily said, it is a large percentage of men that feel this way, that think this way, and then, you know, are stuck with these very angry feelings of not being able to find said woman that does not exist in modern times.
At all, anywhere, like at all, nor should she, nor why would she want to. It makes literal no sense. I think you can be a modern day housewife, no problem, but it doesn't look like that. Like the keep her in a box element to everything that he said was not only so selfish and self-centered, treated her spoke of her in an inhumane way, but that's not the society we even live in anymore. We do get to vote. We do get a say. We do get our own money. Lots of stay-at-home moms and homemakers have side hustles. That's where the expression came from. It was like, how do I do this and sell cupcakes? Or how can I make my knitting go viral on Etsy? Like, these things are legitimately for the side hustle culture, which is the perfect match to a homemaker, child rearing years, all of those kind of phases. But where is the responsibility on this man to be a husband? Like, my immediate question is to go back on some of the male cliches, where I really want to say, well, what do you bring to the table then? And there was a whole viral era of like the high value man that kind of went crazy on the internet. Gotta love those red podcast bros.
Right.
There was the Kevin Samuels, the Jordan Petersons, the Andrew Tates. They're all pushing this. A high value man doesn't settle. He's got 18 choices of women and he's of this money and this magnitude and this good looks and whatever. And we're such a rare breed that you all need to beg and audition. And it's like, first of all, that's not true. And all those men have lost their platforms for all the nonsense that they've done. But there are so many influencers and podcasters that are like this, that speak exactly like this guy. And if you are a young, impressionable male and you are, let's say, your first few times talking to a girl, I have a crush on a girl, handing her a note in, grade 10 in high school, like these kind of like formative years that are filled with rejection, filled with like breaking rules and having fun too, right? But like a ton of embarrassment, a ton of weird shit happens in your teenage years. Your body's doing weird shit. Your social life is weird. School pressures, all the things. Yeah. It was bumpy in the 80s. It was bumpy in the 60s, and it's bumpy now. But instead, the choice is, well, I'm never doing that again. We've talked about this on the pod before, that there are certain men that once they're told no once, they'll never, ever try again. And if their solution to that is, well, then I'm going to stay in my room, I'm going to stay in my house, I'm going to be on Fortnite every day, listen to the same nonsense in my ear, and then I'm going to be listening to these podcast bros and all the downtime off the games. This is what you're feeding your brain. And so this is what you're regurgitating out. And that's why I corrected you and was like, it's actually real. And there's millions of videos like this, because somehow these men have decided that this is true. And this is it is, and it's kind of old-fashioned that we're back to the blame women thing. It's all women's fault. This male loneliness epidemic is because we're withholding all the goods. Yet, do they acknowledge us as goods in a good sense? No, it's goods in a commodity sense. And so it's so backwards. And I feel like at this moment, having a guy like Mr. Hutchins respond to it is so important, because it's starting to crumble the illusion of this male loneliness epidemic. It's a title that was given by men to an issue that they seem to not be able to solve. And I think that's where the meat of what we're going to talk about is how did we get here? And then I guess maybe how do we solve it? But how do we get here is kind of the more important piece, because you've got to unravel it all.
Yeah.
And no offense, women.
Well, I mean, as scary as the thought is that if this man in the video we just watched gets a woman and has a child, he is responsible for raising a young man. My God, like, watch out, world. But the thing is, there's a lot of boys that are growing up in single mother households. This is becoming more and more the norm. I can't say it's necessarily sad if it's the right choice for her and her household, but now this woman is responsible for playing mom and dad, and I don't necessarily think we can all pull that off very successfully. And I think our next video really kind of jumps into that mothering and sending your son then off to his new mother, his wife.
Perfect. Let's watch.
This is my 27-year-old son.
Single son.
We are looking for a wife for him. I'm tired of cooking for him, washing for him. If you see a potential husband in this person, contact them.
This is exactly what I mean when I say that some men are looking for women to pick up where their mommy left off. And this woman is literally letting him know that it's somebody else's responsibility to cook and clean for you at the ripe old age of 27. She wants somebody to take care of him the way that she would, the way that she is. And these men go out into the world and they get disappointed when somebody isn't excited about taking care of them like their mommy did. She's not your mommy, sir. She's your mate. Boy moms, you have to understand that you're raising your son to eventually be somebody else's husband. And you don't want a husband who is lazy, who weaponizes incompetence, who isn't a value to the woman that he partners with. Cooking and cleaning are not women duties, they're adulting. And that grown man at the age of 27 should know how to cook and clean for himself. Some of you mothers are stunting the growth of your own sons by enabling their ineptitude. Encourage your son to be good partners. Women aren't coming into your son's life with the sole purpose of serving him. Some of these same men are always talking about how you need 2 incomes to survive in today's economy. So she got to do all that and give your son half her check. What's in it for her? The woman that comes into his life is not going to treat him the way that you would because she's not his mother. You are.
Riley, my rage, my rage right now is like way too much. Because what the F is that? Like, I realize again that we're speaking to a lot of men and as our audience, but I really want everyone to put on their best moment of empathy. And for some people, empathy can be really easy. And for some people, it's almost like visualization. It can be hard to literally think about putting yourself in someone's shoes. But if you had a vagina, which means you do have a little bit of power, could you imagine being attracted to something like that? Could you imagine the nightmare of a mother-in-law that would end up being? And bless her heart, because she could be lovely, but she's created a monster. And so we've switched roles a little bit, because in the 50s, let's say, which to them is the good old days, trad wife and all that jazz, we are talking about women that basically went school, maybe college or university, depending if they were allowed, or of financial ability. So frat house, dorm room, whatever, straight to marriage. There was no single life. There was no finding myself. There was no career. There was no dating around, learning all these things, paying rent on your own and all that kind of shit, right? It was literally domestic to domestic. And so you now have these men that are doing exactly the same thing. And the reason why I think we're both placing heavy blame on single moms is because I think there are some moms that have made an extreme positive effort to have other male role models around. They may stretch their own capabilities to try and compensate for an absent father as much as they can, but they're also aware that they can't fill certain gaps. So grandpa and uncles and friends of the family and his hockey coach, like whoever it is, can step in and fill some of those voids. Maybe not all, but some. And you can raise a well-balanced human being, no problem that way. But there are a lot of women who have dated some shitty men in their life, ended up completely single and decided, I'm not doing this anymore. And they have replaced that role in the house with their son. And therefore, this man is now her makeshift partner, not in a sexual sense, but in a functional relationship in the household sense. And so as soon as he's old enough, he's taking out the garbage and he's the man of the house and all those kind of things. And that's cool. Give a kid chores, right? But it's how it's framed. And when it gets to the point that the mom is social dependent on this son being there, then she's also the one that is, instead of pressuring him, okay, honey, college is coming. Make sure you're saving your money with that part-time job, because after you live in the dorms, you're living on your own, and empty nest is me, and let's go, find a wife and picket fence and all the tradition that you may want. We are not acknowledging the fact that instead she's like, no, stay home. It's too unaffordable out there, honey bunny. Cuddle with me on the couch. Sleep with me and all these things. He's 35. What are you talking about? And so we have, this is half the reason why people Riley and I's age even aren't dating. How am I at 40 something able to relate to a man who has either never left his mom's house or just left 3 years ago? Like, what are we talking about? And so we have dependent men, dependent on their moms, which is the irony of coming out the other end of hating women. And yet if girl doesn't do the cooking and the cleaning and stuff like my mom did, then she's a bad woman or a whore or a this or a that. And you're the reason why there's not enough babies in the world. And like, it just goes on into these like ridiculous extremes. And yet, as much as I hate the blame women thing, I'm fucking blaming women on this because you've coddled this man and stunted his growth to the point where you have an adult child. What I think people really need to like focus on, or what women, single moms need to focus on, is not raising him to be the man of your house. You need to raise this person, this little human, to be an amazing future husband to somebody else. Gay, straight, or backwards, does not matter. What you don't want is a dependent. And that's what all of these men have kind of turned into. And I think the contrast is, yes, with the whole feminism trends, we've been given the right to vote and have a bank account and can get divorced without our husband or father's permission. And we can do all the things. We can go out, get educated, and start careers.
Yeah.
But while men are getting stunted or even kind of dipping down, getting stuck in like those teenage years almost with like just lack of critical reasoning whatsoever, women are soaring. We are out living in longevity. We are out earning in finances. We are out educating on college and university campuses. We are out business owning. We are out everything. We're out voting. Like, we are practicing our rights. We are doing what we're allowed to do. And so, yes, the what do you bring to the table conversation has completely changed. No offense to the high value men, but your value, unless it adds to my life and doesn't detract from my peace, then I don't need to be at said table. Like, I could own a castle all by myself. I could have servants and horsemen. Like, it could be a whole situation where you don't need a king or a prince to come in and save the day. If I'm already making the money, I've already got the kids, I'm living in the house, I'm educated, I'm traveling with my friends, I've got social support from my friends, I've got either chosen or legitimate blood family, I've got all my bases, we've done the self-care, the healing, heal our inner child. We've been doing this work for decades now to prepare for these moments. And in the meantime, it's as if these young men have just stopped participating. They don't know how to speak to humans, especially girls. And I think I've said it a few times before, especially when we did the Manosphere stuff with adolescence, the show. We need less red pill stuff, less Andrew Tate, more Hitch. Learn to talk to girls, learn to get some riz, learn how to be the guy with the moves. Listen, in the 50s, men were still men. You know what I mean? We had crooners that showed for it. Give me a break. They were in suits and knew how to speak. They knew courtship and talked to women and paid for the dinner on the date and all that. They asked the dad for permission. There was an element that was legit in terms of how to court women, how to attract women. And I think I said this to you last night in our very long powwow. I think that was the longest pregame we've ever had. It boggles my brain because I think it's going in on like 10, 12, 14 seasons now. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy has been your cheat sheet, available on basic cable. Learn to dress, learn to clean, learn to cook, learn to speak. Like, these are basic things that they're just not participating in, and then filled with anger and rage or weaponized incompetence. And it just comes out in these ways where why would we then bother? It's not that we don't want partners. It's not that we don't want more babies in the world so society can continue. Birth rates up, birth rates down. Like, we get that. I think women fully understand that in terms of societal function. But listen, technology is 2 seconds away from making sperm by itself in a dish. So what? Because you can't replicate a uterus, but you sure as heck could find some swimmers. This is why lavender marriages are so popular. Because the gay guys, they participated. They know how to dress. They know how to speak. They know how to accomplish. They got their ducks in a row. They've got all of the things down. Of course, that's attractive. You know how good toys are these days? I don't need the dick. I need a partner is what I need. I need a functional human being that cares about my day, whose day I can care about too. And it's just, it's become such an imbalance, and it's only getting worse. And I will say this, whoever finds the solve, the app, the course, the solution is going to be the next trillionaire, because it will solve all the things. Yeah. It's so out of balance. It's scary. It's scary, actually.
I think when you're thinking of like a little boy, I mean, both children, boy or girl, but growing up in a home, I think the best example for a young child is to see a man love the woman of the house, to see a man love his mother. And that is the best teacher. And unfortunately, because it's not everyone's household, again, we're talking about this toxic kind of bond between a mother and son, that she's not raising him to do. She might be raising him in the ways of, this is a boy job, take out the garbage, but there
Right.
also needs to be the thought process behind it of, can you flip the laundry for me? Or can you brush out your little sister's hair? There's a lot of things you need to do in a household to be a man that aren't fixing things and disposing of things, right? And I think
Yeah.
when a woman's in that role, and as much as we're here kind of blaming the mothers, I understand it's very hard. And like it's being very conscious at all times that you're trying to raise this boy to enter a partnership or enter a marriage where it's not about what he's bringing to the table. It's being par, if not above, offering her something more to fill her cup, to take care of her emotional, physical, like financial, all the needs. And I think it's important to really stress that to the boy and work on those pieces of doing other duties that aren't man duties, right? Because it's adult duties. We are adulting. It's not male or female. Like, not only women do laundry here, guys. So I think it's showing him all of the things to make a household function and have him participate in that. Because if he's only taking out the garbage and feeling very successful, like, I do this every Thursday for mom, I can do this for a wife, that's not enough. Like, it's just not enough. And I'm sorry your mother coddled you to make you believe that you're helpful, but that is not enough to sustain a marriage. Having a paycheck and taking out the garbage, I don't want it. Like, it's not enough for women.
It's so true. And it's funny how you said the boy thing, because what she's actually doing is giving him man jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And like, a boy needs to learn chores. But a man runs a household, right? And so why are we putting that on an 8-year-old kid, on a 13-year-old boy, on a 19-year-old college kid? Like, what are we doing? Make it age appropriate, but show him, like you said, with a great example. I wish I had saved a video I saw yesterday, and it was that kind of example. It was 2 kids, like young little guys, watching the dad and the mom just dance. Like, a song came on and he was like, honey, just dance with me. And the caption was, this is what you should be showing your children. And it's true. It's a tender moment. And there's nothing more strong about a man than when he can melt into a tender moment with his woman. And yet these same dudes, these red-pilled dudes that are, and like, we should also blame the dad that was a shitty man to begin with, didn't stay an active father, and left wife or woman in this position to begin with. And then I get, she coped how she knew best, and so on and so forth. But there has to be self-reflection. And here we are. Those same men are very angry if a woman has a standard in terms of, he needs to earn this much or more, or he needs to be this good looking or more, or he needs to be this kind of attractive and whatever it is that you like. Because the common expression is, well, it's 100 times, don't you want it 50-50?
You like that? You want more? Subscribe to the Patreon and I'll take you deep throat.
Show me where that's 50-50. Because if she's a full-time career woman, she's already doing what he's supposed to be doing. That's if he has a career. A lot of these guys don't, right? Then she's child rearing. He's not participating. Then she's cleaning and householding, maintaining a household like as if she's a nanny. He's not participating. Like, all of these things are happening. And where's your 50-50? What do you bring to the table? Again, what are you talking about, bro? That's not 50-50. So I have to split the bills, do all the household chores, do the whole child rearing thing, have a full-time job, find room for my activities, stay in shape, can't gain weight, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, I went to work today, and like you said, I took out the garbage on Thursday. What more do you want from me, man? Like, it's absolutely maddening, and it's shocking to me how quickly it can take just a regular wholesome guy, young boy, man our age or older, and it could be like 2 clicks on YouTube, and next thing you know, that entire suggested video section, or your entire meta algorithm has completely rearranged itself. So now all you're being fed is those dudes. But let me tell you, a lot of the dudes that run these podcasts, first of all, they're paid by sponsorships, or they're paid by other entities that have financial vested interest in selling this new course about how to be a high value man or whatever it is. And much of them are well groomed. They have a wife at home, many of them against the grain, that like if it comes out in their real life and it gets kind of doxed, that their wife is a plus size woman. Maybe she's an immigrant. She's, you know, all these different things that they rage about publicly on TV or on the screen. It's such hypocrisy, because either you're listening to a man preach who's never scored a woman in his life and is unfunctional in his adulthood, or it's a man that's bullshitting you so he can make a buck. And they're cobbling it up like candy and then raging through the world. And I think we touched on this again with the manosphere stuff, because not only is this an added danger to women in terms of our physical safety, our personal mental health safety in relationships, in dating, but it's even more dangerous for sex workers, because these people will eventually hit a wall of some sort and be angry that they've decided to pay a professional to see. And if she says no to something, or she says, you know, I don't want to see you, I didn't like the, you know, connection, I think you should see a different provider, he's now back in his 15-year-old self, being rejected by an unattainable, prettier than expected, blah, 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 you expect all this money, you gold digger woman. And he's back in his rage even more. And that just festers, and they seek out darker and darker and darker content. And that content goes from red pill to black pill, and it gets really, really scary. That's when you end up in dark web stuff, and the violence that can be associated is just terrifying. I would be terrified to be on a first date with a man like that. There are countless date videos that you can see where a woman is kind of holding the phone like off a little bit, and you can hear the man literally not even about to pay the bill of the dinner and the first date yet, and asks her if he's going home with her. And if the answer is no, it's, I didn't bring my wallet, I don't have any money for this, what the fuck do you think this is, yada yada. And it just snowballs in every direction.
Who's gonna tell these spoiled girls that the rich 10 out of 10 dude doesn't want them?
Shut the fuck up. Also, if you haven't seen that video, he goes on to say that he knows this is true because he knows these types of men, not that he is one of them. So that makes you what, the moderator of the group chat? The unpaid intern of the patriarchy? Here's the reality. Vogue just came out with an article that literally said it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend in the year 2025. Because the truth of the matter is, women are out here buying homes, running companies, starting side hustles, healing their childhood trauma and their skin barrier, all in the time it takes you to frost those tips and play Fortnite, bro. Listen, it's not that women don't want men, it's just that they don't need them to survive. And I know this to be true because all of the women that I know care a lot more about things like emotional maturity and stability and reliability, you know, the qualities that would make a man a good long-term partner and father more than they care about how much money a man makes. But I guess that power dynamic shifted while you were busy listening to podcasts about high-value men. So my advice would be that instead of warning women that rich men don't want them, maybe you should start asking why women with peace and power and a mortgage don't want you. And ladies, don't feel bad for these type of men, the male loneliness epidemic type of men. You don't need to feel bad for a man who can't succeed in a system that was built by and for them. Okay, bye.
Love me, Samisha. He makes amazing points, much more concise than I could ever put it. Can you imagine me saying all that in like 90 seconds? Never. And you know what? He's a perfect representation of what I was saying before about the gay guy that has his shit together. Now, he's a married man. He's not looking for a lavender marriage, but he would be the epitome of a qualified candidate. That man is attractive, not my type, but like beautiful, clean, well-shaven, well-spoken, intelligent, cares about other human beings. If you follow or find his page, this man does more charity work and outreach and gives a shit about everything from kids to women to puppies. Like, it is just balanced. He's a balanced adult. The gayness is irrelevant because who wouldn't want a bestie like that? Who wouldn't want a cousin like that? Who wouldn't want a partner like that? A neighbor? I mean, that's the kind of person you want to do business with, or you want to trade sleepovers with your kids. Like, you trust someone like that because they've put in the work into themselves, and then they pour it back out into society to help create and influence better people. He's not an influencer trying to sell makeup or the latest sneakers. He's just trying to sell goodness. And it's just such a good example. And that video just nutshells it all so perfectly. Again, better than anything I could bitch about for 45 minutes. I love it.
I feel like I'm kind of moving backwards here, but I know we're going to jump into our last video with you guys, which is a little more funny. But I did want to touch on one part that you slightly spoke about when we were talking about mothers and sons. And if you don't have, I wish there was more women viewers. Guys, invite your friends, your female friends, to watch the podcast, because I think women can benefit from this as well. But I think if you don't have that male role in the home, or at least for me, because I'm also a single mother for the most part, is sports, is having coaches, that male influence that's very kind of, depending on the sport your son is in, very kind of hard and direct and to the point with them, that male influence that they really need. I think sports is a great outlet if you don't have kind of male outside family members that can help you with your son. It's what I would suggest is like one of the best avenues. But will we ever cure this? No. I don't know how society changes at this point, but I think it is recognizing that there is a responsibility. As much as I don't love blaming women in this case, there's some blame to be given, like that's the facts of the matter. And they don't do it intentionally. They're not trying to ruin their sons' lives, but you have to step back and really realize, what kind of a man are you giving to your future daughter-in-law? Because at some point as a mother, you have to accept she is going to be his number one, not you. And that is healthy. That is what you want to raise your son to be. As much as it might be hard to stomach, that's the goal, right? Like, 100%. Nurture the birds, let them fly. But we cannot keep clipping their wings and then expecting some woman to take over and keep raising them for us.
Well, and they end up monster-in-laws too, right? Because God. That woman's going to be in your house nitpicking how you mop your floors. Like, it's going to be dreadful. She's going to down talk you as you're not good enough for my baby, blah, blah. Like, it just snowballs all over the fucking field. Like you said earlier, then they try to raise children. And again, like you said, how do you raise a man under those pretexts? But also, how do you become a good girl dad at that point? Like, and it's funny because any of those guys, if you were to ask them, would you want your daughter on a date who a man said, like, they're like, absolutely not. And I'm like, but you can behave that way? Like, make it make sense. I started off this episode saying it's nonsense because it's not sensical. It just literally doesn't make any godforsaken sense. And I think coaches are a perfect example, but you also need the mom involved because that's how you target and find out about the toxicity that can happen in sports sometimes. But I grew up with a brother a couple years younger than me, who was super active in many, many sports, all the way up to like rep levels. So hardcore intensity, discipline, all of those great things. Some of his coaches inspired him more than even my father. And my dad was a good dad.
Yeah.
We don't speak now, but he was a great dad and he did good in those regards. But at the same time, it was still added positive male influences. I think the more that they can have, the better, regardless of whether they have a dad around or not, but even more so or not. And I think for maybe not just Americans, but I always think Army Americans, I think that's a draw to enlisting in the Army too, is it's got the discipline, male influence around, structure, you can learn some things, bonding with peers that you definitely don't have on a video game. You know, it does offer certain kind of things. The problem is that's too ultra male and ends up very toxic. Again, I'm leaning a little bit on America, that one. Not that our Army doesn't have toxicity too, but ours is much more equality based. You can end up in some really, really shitty situations there, but I think that's the draw to it as well, because a lot of young men enlist in the Army because they're like, I can't get a job any other way. If I do the Army, then I'll have health care and whatever. They can still be dysfunctional mama's boys left and right. Yeah. But I mean, I know guys that went to high school with that are still living at home with their mothers and wonder why 20 somethings don't want to date them anymore. They're that guy at the club now. And they've slutted their way through all the things with never taking an ounce of self-reflection and being like, am I even a good partner when I finally want to settle down? Instead of guy number one in our videos here, who just thinks he's entitled to and demands said standards.
Yeah.
It's the math.
I saw something on the internet and I love self-reflecting type questions. And this one was to guys that they said, if your daughter brought home someone who's exactly like you, would you feel happy and safe that she made that decision? Or would you be like, oh shit? And I think that's a really good question because, I mean, first of all, girls try to marry close to their dad generally anyways, but if you are proud of who you are and your character of how you present yourself in your marriage, then you should be like, absolutely, she should marry someone just like me. But I beg the question because I think so many of those men, like we've been watching in these videos, would probably never want their daughters to marry someone like them. I'm curious, but
the irony, right? It's rich. It sure is rich. My goodness. Well, I think on that note, before we get to our last funny video, we should give a kudos to the good dudes out there, because it's not all men and it's certainly not all generations. It can range across cultures and all kinds of different facets of who people are. There are good ones, there are shitty ones, and there are mama's boys, apparently. Like, I don't even think it's not powerful enough to call them that, because that sounds cute and fluffy, and this isn't cute or fluffy. Because again, still we're in a world that's run by the patriarchy. So you're complaining about a situation where y'all set up. We didn't have to say and all that. Y'all did this. And so now you're complaining about it because it's gotten you to where it is. I get why they blame feminism. I get why they blame, if we didn't let them vote anymore, this problem wouldn't happen. Then we'd have all the babies and I'd have a Stepford wife. Like, it's madness. It's absolute madness. But it leaves me to question, what would a world look like as a matriarchy? Because I feel like we may be selfish and rebellious the first few years and be like, fuck the boys. We're just doing everything we couldn't do before. But we wouldn't create a system that excludes. It would be something that's, how do we get to where we want to be, and how do our men get to where they want to be, and create social construct around that, political, medical, all of the things. It's fun to wonder, what would the world be like? And I think that's a little bit of our influence in how we run Muse even, because most of them are male run and run under male ideas. And we come in with female creativity, female empathy for our workers. And that's what makes Muse different. It just is. It's hard to explain when people ask what Muse is different, but I really think it's the feminine touch. It's the feminine leadership. And it is the way that we do for women, by women, for the pleasure of men. And I think that's how we honor men and appreciate and respect our staff and just the whole business model around it. So it bleeds into business too. This shit bleeds into everything. That guy goes to a pharmacy. His mother goes to the pharmacy. Like that guy has to do normal shit at some point. And so he could be just as douchey on a date as he is going to pick up a prescription. Like it really can be that nuanced, but that just spread across all facets of their life. And Lord, who wants that guy as a neighbor? Let's get back to good neighbors. Let's get more Mishas. Lavender boys that just want to look pretty and do like crafts. It's just fine. But I think this last video we've got is a powerful nutshell of, are you serious? Yeah.
Yeah. It's powerful with the message. So let's watch.
Let's rock.
Isleen's clothes. Where's Isleen's clothes? Isleen's clothes.
In the drawer in her room.
Oh, no, yeah. There's whatever.
Yeah.
What exactly goes through a man's mind when the woman in his life does a race or a marathon? Because I want to say this is like the third video I've done where a man pulls some straight up shenanigans when the woman is in a race. I remember doing a video about this woman who was finishing a marathon and she was just about to cross the finish line and her husband pushes and shoves her 2 kids onto the track right in front of the ticker tape. So the wife has to actually run past her own children so that she doesn't trample them. There was another video about a woman who was running a 20-mile race and she had her boyfriend hold the snacks for her and she needed more fuel at about the 16-mile mark. So she asked her husband, where's the snacks? And then he confesses that he ate them. She was like, but you had one job. What is it with men deciding that when a woman is doing something that's clearly just for herself, that some men feel the need to try to sabotage it? Like this woman said in the video, you're a parent. How do you not know where your child's clothes are? I don't know this woman. I don't know her husband. I don't even know the child. But I'm going to guess as a stranger that if I'm looking for a kid's clothes in a child's room, I'm going to check the drawers first. It's almost like some kind of uncontrollable desire to remind you that I know you're doing this for yourself, but don't forget you're a mom. It's like they want you to know that your little hobby isn't that important to them. Women aren't sabotaging men's golf game or poker night or fantasy football team, but when it comes to women and their hobbies, sometimes they do this.
We're done. That's enough. Cut the mic. We're finished.